That psalm is not just words, but a divine law that activates abundance when spoken with faith. Too often people look at scripture as poetry or as history, or as a comforting set of lines to be read when the heart feels heavy. But the truth is far greater. The psalm is not passive, it is active. It is not just something you read, it is something you release. Every verse is alive, breathing with the eternal Spirit of God, carrying the power to create, the power to move mountains, the power to shift circumstances that seemed immovable. When you speak a psalm with faith, you are not engaging in wishful thinking, you are issuing a decree into the very structure of the universe. Words are not vibrations lost in air, they are seeds sown into the soil of spirit, and every seed has within it the pattern of what it must become. A farmer does not plant wheat and expect thorns. A gardener does not plant roses and expect weeds. In the same way, when you plant words of faith, you cannot reap lack, you cannot reap despair, you cannot reap poverty, you must reap abundance, for the law of spirit cannot be broken. That psalm is divine law because it declares truths that cannot be overturned. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. This is not merely a line to soothe the anxious, it is a decree that lack is illegal in your life. Want, in its true form, has no jurisdiction over a child of God. To say the psalm is to remind heaven and earth of your rightful inheritance, to put the invisible world on notice that you have remembered who you are. And when you remember, everything must align with that memory. You may wonder why 7 days is significant. It is because 7 completes a cycle. 7 is the fingerprint of divine order, 7 days of creation, 7 lamps of the menorah, 7 times the walls of Jericho were circled before they fell. 7 is a number that seals a thing, bringing it into fullness. And when you speak the psalm for 7 days, you are not simply repeating words, you are completing a spiritual transaction, pressing it into the unseen until it becomes visible. It is not repetition for the sake of memory, but repetition for the sake of manifestation. Each time you speak it, the atmosphere around you begins to rearrange. Invisible chains are loosed, doors swing open, debts are cancelled, provisions are dispatched. What seems like coincidence is simply divine order revealing itself. That unexpected phone call, that forgotten debt paid, that opportunity appearing at your doorstep. It is all evidence that the psalm has gone ahead of you, clearing the path, making the crooked places straight. Many people pray and wonder why nothing happens. It is because their words are laced with doubt. They speak once, then immediately contradict themselves with fear. They say, "The Lord is my shepherd." But then they sigh, "I don't know how I will make it." Beloved, you cannot plant wheat and then water it with poison and expect it to grow. The psalm must be spoken with faith, unwavering, steady, bold. Faith is the fertilizer, the sunlight, the rain. Without it, the soil cannot yield. With it, nothing can prevent the harvest. The moment you decide that these words are law, everything changes. You are no longer hoping, they are already fulfilled. You are no longer begging, you are commanding. Heaven recognizes authority. When you speak the psalm with the authority of belief, angels move, doors shift, wealth is loosed. The money you need is already here, the resources already exist, but they await your decree to be released. Your voice is the key that unlocks the vault. Think of it this way: the psalm is like a legal contract written by the hand of God himself. When you speak it, you are not negotiating. You are invoking. You are not asking for permission. You are reminding creation of the binding covenant already in place. I shall not want means want has no claim over you. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures means provision is your rest, not your struggle. My cup runneth over means overflow, not barely enough, is your portion. These are not poetic niceties, they are spiritual facts. The only question is whether you will dare to treat them as such. The Spirit does not respond to fear, but it always responds to faith. Fear says, I don't see it, so it must not exist. Faith says, I don't see it yet, but I know it already belongs to me. Fear is the language of lack. Faith is the language of law. And when you speak the psalm in faith, you are conversing in the native tongue of the universe itself. Heaven hears you, earth obeys you, and everything in between must conform to your word. Imagine yourself for a moment. Each morning you rise, you open your lips, and the first sound to fill your house is the psalm. You say it not as ritual, but as reality. You feel its truth vibrating through your chest, flowing through your blood. You let every line sink deep into your bones until it becomes who you are. By the time you finish, your day has already been set in motion. Prosperity has already been assigned. Goodness and mercy are already following you. Even before you open your wallet, your spirit has opened the treasury of heaven. Then, as you walk through your day, worries may whisper. Bills may glare at you from the table. Doubt may tap at your mind. But you answer back with the psalm. You remind yourself, I shall not want. You declare, my cup runneth over. You proclaim, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Each time you respond, you silence the voice of lack and amplify the voice of abundance. And with each declaration, You are chiseling away at the old structure of limitation, carving out space for a new reality to emerge. For some, the breakthrough will come quickly. By the third day, they will see checks arriving, debts erased, doors opening. For others, it may appear slower, but every day is building momentum, every day is stacking bricks in the unseen, until suddenly the wall of lack collapses and the flood of abundance pours in. The psalm never fails, it only waits for you to persist. You may think you are just one person in a small house, whispering a few lines in the morning, but in truth, you are echoing eternity. You are summoning wealth from the unseen. You are commanding angels to bring what already belongs to you. You are reshaping your world with the most powerful tool you have ever been given, your word. And the psalm is your word made perfect, sharpened, aligned with divine law. Beloved, wealth is not something you must chase, it is something you command. Poverty is not your destiny, it is a lie. Lack is not your portion, it is an illusion. When you speak the psalm for 7 days with faith, you are not asking God to suddenly change his mind about you. You are aligning yourself with the truth he has declared from the beginning, that you are provided for, that you are abundant, that you are supplied in every way. And when that truth becomes more real to you than the numbers in your bank account, more solid than the bills on your table, more present than the worry in your heart, then you will see the evidence in the physical. The job, the promotion, the contract, the sale, the opportunity, the inheritance, the unexpected check. It will come, and it will come with the signature of divine timing. Your role is not to figure out how, but to declare what is. The psalm is your what. Faith is your how. 7 days is your when. And abundance is your inevitable outcome. So I say to you, do not delay. Take this psalm into your mouth, into your spirit, into your life. Speak it as law, not as suggestion. Declare it with the certainty of one who knows the universe cannot resist the decree of a child of God. For 7 days, let it be your anthem, your song, your shield, your sword. And at the end of those 7 days, look around, for you will not be the same. Your finances will not be the same. Your life will not be the same. Because the psalm is not just words, it is divine law. And when divine law is spoken with faith, abundance must appear. It cannot be otherwise. It is written, it is settled. It is done. Beloved, when we speak of 7 days of declaring a psalm, we are not speaking of mere repetition. Nor are we discussing a religious ritual done out of habit. We are talking about stepping into a divine rhythm, a law that has governed creation since the beginning of time. 7 is not a number chosen at random. It is the seal of completion, the cycle of perfection, the rhythm of heaven. When you align your words with the vibration of spirit for 7 days, you are entering into the same creative pattern that spoke galaxies into motion, that ordered the cosmos, and that breathed life into the dust of man. Imagine for a moment that your financial situation is not a problem, but a field of energy waiting for direction. Every bill, every debt, every lack is simply unshaped substance, raw material waiting for the voice of command. When you pick up the words of the psalm and declare them daily for 7 days, you are shaping that raw material into divine order. You are no longer living under the law of fear or the curse of scarcity. You are aligning with the higher law of abundance, the law that says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." That is not just poetry, it is decree. It is spiritual legislation written into the fabric of the universe. For 7 days, as you repeat those words, something powerful happens. On day 1, you plant a seed. On day 2, the soil begins to move. On day 3, roots are forming in the unseen. On day 4, the shoot pushes through the earth. On day 5, the bud begins to appear. On day 6, the flower opens its face to the light. And on day 7, completion comes, the harvest is seen and manifestation begins. This is why creation itself was framed in 7 days. This is why walls fell in 7 marches around Jericho. This is why forgiveness is multiplied in 7s, and why the candlestick of the temple bore 7 flames. 7 carries the code of completion. And when you bring your finances into alignment with that sacred cycle, you are calling forth completion in your money matters. Now listen closely. It is not enough to speak the psalm as if you are repeating a line from a book. Words without faith are empty shells. You must speak it with the knowing that your decree is law. Each day, when you rise in the morning and allow that psalm to escape your lips, you are signing a contract with the divine. You are saying, "I agree with spirit that I cannot walk in lack. I agree with heaven that provision is already mine. I agree with divine order that my finances must align with abundance." This is not begging God for help. This is not pleading for mercy. This is standing in your rightful place as a child of the infinite, exercising dominion over the substance of your life. When the psalm says, "The Lord is my shepherd," it means there is guidance, there is protection, there is direction. You do not have to stumble in the dark of financial confusion. The shepherd leads you into green pastures, opportunities that are lush and abundant. He leads you beside still waters, the calm of financial peace where you no longer fear bills, no longer panic at expenses, no longer live under the heavy burden of debt. He restores your soul, reminding you that prosperity is your birthright, not a far-off dream. He prepares a table before you, not in secret, but in the presence of those who doubted, in the very face of circumstances that once mocked you, and he anoints your head with oil, signifying favor, authority, and divine promotion. Your cup runs over, that means overflow, more than enough, pressed down, shaken together, and running over into every area of your life. Now consider what happens when you make these words the vibration of your life for 7 consecutive days. Your consciousness begins to shift. The mind that once dwelt on lack begins to dwell on supply. The lips that once spoke fear begin to speak faith. The emotions that once trembled with anxiety begin to rest in peace. And because consciousness is creative, your outer world begins to take shape according to the inner decree. Suddenly, opportunities appear. Money that was owed to you is released. Unexpected channels open. A phone call comes, an email arrives, a door swings wide. This is not coincidence, this is divine order responding to your 7 days of decree. But do not be deceived into thinking this is mechanical. 7 days is not about clocking time, it is about aligning with rhythm. If you speak the psalm in doubt, 7 years will pass without change. But if you speak it in faith, 7 days is all it takes for heaven to shift the atmosphere. Faith is the currency of the unseen. Faith is the power that translates words into substance. Faith is the magnet that pulls the unseen riches into visible manifestation. When you couple faith with the psalm, you are unstoppable. Each day of the 7 carries a unique vibration. On day 1, you break ground. The soil of your consciousness is disturbed. On day 2, you water the seed with expectation. On day 3, you uproot weeds of doubt by reinforcing your decree. On day 4, you begin to feel the inner peace of alignment. On day 5, a subtle shift happens. You notice synchronicities, signs, small breakthroughs. On day 6, momentum builds, what was once invisible begins to take form. On day 7, completion arrives. The harvest bursts forth, the breakthrough appears, and you know that heaven has heard. And hear me well, when you complete the cycle of 7 days, you must not return to the language of lack. Do not undo with your casual words what you built with your sacred words. Too many plant seeds of abundance with one hand and pull them up with doubt in the other. You must guard your tongue as though it is a scepter, for it is. The psalm is not a temporary chant, it is the blueprint for how you should live, the law of abundance written in eternal words. Carry it beyond the 7 days, make it your lifestyle, and when lack tries to knock, answer it with the decree. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Beloved, the Spirit is not limited by economy, inflation, or the reports of men. Your supply is not tied to wages, nor is it chained to banks. The shepherd owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. The wealth of the earth is but dust compared to the richness of spirit. When you align with divine order, supply flows from unexpected channels, favor locates you, and money comes in streams you could never have planned. Do you see now the power of 7 days? It is not superstition, it is divine strategy. It is the completion of a cycle that rewrites your destiny. In 7 days of speaking the psalm, you align heaven and earth, inner and outer, seen and unseen. You pull the invisible into visibility. You call the provision that was always yours into manifestation. And when it arrives, give thanks. Do not act as though it were a surprise, act as though it were inevitable, because it is. Gratitude seals the blessing. Gratitude multiplies the flow. Gratitude declares to the universe, I am ready for more. And more will come. For when you live in this law, supply never ends, abundance never runs dry, and breakthrough becomes your daily bread. So take this challenge, not lightly, but with solemn joy. For 7 days let this psalm be your decree. Morning, noon, and night, let it roll off your lips with faith. Watch the shift in your spirit. Watch the shift in your environment. Watch the miracles that unfold. You will look back and say, in just 7 days, my life was aligned with divine order, and my financial breakthrough was released. This, beloved, is the power of the spoken word. This is the power of 7. This is the eternal promise you shall not want, for your shepherd leads you into abundance without end. Beloved, let me speak to you with the clarity of spirit today. Every word you release carries the weight of creation. Your declarations are not idle phrases, they are hammers striking against the walls of lack, chisels breaking down the stones of limitation, and keys unlocking the gates to provision that has always existed for you in the unseen. When you understand this, when you embrace it, when you practice it, your entire financial destiny shifts from struggle to overflow. You have been told that life is about working harder, grinding longer, and chasing after opportunities as though they are scarce jewels hidden in the sands of the earth. But Spirit whispers a different truth. What you speak, you summon. What you decree, you manifest. What you boldly declare in alignment with divine order becomes flesh and circumstance. It moves from the invisible into the visible, from the intangible into the tangible, from the spiritual into your bank account, your home, your business, your reality. Think of the sculptor standing before a block of marble. To the untrained eye, it is nothing but stone, cold, solid, immovable. But in the sculptor's vision, A masterpiece is hidden within that block. With every strike of the chisel, pieces of the unnecessary fall away. With every intentional blow, more of the vision is revealed. Soon the statue stands unveiled, glorious, complete. In the same way, your declarations are the chisels, and your financial reality is the block of marble. Lack is not permanent. It is only the excess stone waiting to be removed by the words you release in faith. Every declaration of abundance chisels away the illusion of insufficiency. Every word of prosperity spoken dismantles the lie that resources are limited. Every decree you make in alignment with divine promise summons the provision that has been waiting in the unseen realm, pressing to be released into your experience. When you declare, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," you are not hoping. It is not a maybe. It is not a wish. It is a law. Want cannot live where that word has been spoken. Lack cannot survive under the sound of that decree. Limitation crumbles like fragile glass under the hammer of divine truth. Do not underestimate the power of your daily speech. For too long, people have enslaved themselves by declaring lack, speaking fear, and rehearsing limitations. They wake and say, "Money is hard. Times are tough. Nothing ever works for me." Those declarations are chisels too, but chisels carving prisons instead of pathways. What you say creates. What you speak multiplies. If you declare defeat, defeat takes form. If you decree abundance, abundance rushes in. The Spirit honors the vibration of your words, for your words are seeds in the soil of the unseen. Now hear me, the unseen is not empty. It is overflowing with provision, with supply, with opportunities, with divine connections, with contracts, with ideas, with breakthroughs. It is not barren, it is abundant. Your declarations do not create out of nothing. They draw from what already exists in spirit, waiting for your command to appear in time and space. Imagine a vast warehouse in the heavens, filled to overflowing with everything you could ever need: finances, health, joy, peace, relationships, opportunities. Your declarations are the requests that pull items off the shelf and deliver them into your hands. Without the declaration, the shelves remain full, but your life remains empty. With the declaration, heaven's supply line is activated. This is why speaking for 7 days or 70 or a lifetime is not ritual but alignment. Each day you declare, you chip away at another piece of marble. You break down another wall, you release another stream of provision. You may not see the full statue after one day, but keep striking, keep speaking, keep chiseling. The masterpiece of your financial freedom is already inside the stone. You are only revealing it with the hammer of your words. Think of Joshua circling the walls of Jericho. For days, nothing moved. The walls stood strong, high, unyielding. Yet at the sound of the trumpet, at the release of the decree, the walls crumbled to dust. Your walls of financial struggle may seem high and immovable, but one sustained declaration will bring them down. Not by might, not by power, but by spirit moving through your word. Beloved, money responds to sound. Opportunities respond to vibration. The universe is wired to obey the frequency of faith-filled speech. When you declare, "Wealth is my portion, prosperity flows to me," doors are opening now. The very molecules of your environment shift to obey. People you have never met begin to think of you. Ideas you had long forgotten rise again in your memory. Calls come, emails arrive, payments release, debts cancel, contracts sign. It looks like coincidence, but it is divine law responding to your decree. And do not grow weary if the evidence delays. Remember, the sculptor does not stop striking just because the masterpiece is not yet visible. Every strike matters. Every declaration counts. Even when you cannot see the cracks forming in the wall of lack, they are forming. Even when you cannot see the flow of provision beneath the ground, it is bubbling, rising, ready to burst forth at the appointed time. Do not stop chiseling. Do not stop declaring. For the moment you do, the work pauses. But if you persist for 7 days, for 70 days, for as long as it takes, you will see what you have declared. Let your declarations be bold. Say them as one who commands, not as one who begs. The Spirit has not made you a beggar but a king, a priest, and heir. A king does not beg his kingdom to obey, he decrees, and it is so. A priest does not plead with heaven to respond, he knows heaven is already open, and his words release what is waiting. An heir does not struggle to claim inheritance, it belongs to him by birthright. In the same way, prosperity belongs to you. Not because you earn it, but because you are aligned with Spirit. Your declarations are the claim checks that pull the inheritance from the treasury of the unseen into the account of the seen. Now let me speak prophetically to you. There are streams of income, ideas, and opportunities already assigned to your life. They are hovering in the unseen, waiting for you to call them forth. They cannot be claimed by silence. They cannot be activated by fear. They respond only to declaration. Say, money comes to me now. Clients find me now. Opportunities locate me now. Debts are dissolved now. Overflow is my reality now. Speak it, repeat it, believe it, and the unseen will break open into your experience. Even the smallest declaration carries power. Do not despise the day of small words. One drop of water repeated enough times can carve stone. One flame of fire, if fed, can consume a forest. One word of faith spoken again and again can dismantle the strongest walls of lack and release rivers of wealth into your life. Do not say, "But I have spoken and nothing has happened." Speak again, strike again, declare again. For the unseen responds not to hesitation but to persistence. Understand also that your declarations are not limited by geography, economy, or circumstance. Recession cannot silence spirit, inflation cannot choke supply, job markets cannot restrict divine provision, governments cannot legislate against your prosperity. The unseen is above the seen, it is not governed by earthly conditions. When you declare abundance, you tap into a supply higher than banks, richer than markets, more secure than investments. That supply cannot run dry, cannot fail, cannot be stolen. It is infinite. So rise in the morning with your declaration. Say it with conviction, not as ritual but as law. Walk through your day and declare when fear whispers. Speak in your car, in your home, in your workplace. Let your words saturate your environment until lack has no air to breathe. At night, declare again. And as you sleep, your words will work for you, chiseling, dismantling, summoning, aligning, preparing. You will awaken not only refreshed but surrounded by new doors opening before you. Child of spirit, you are never at the mercy of lack. Lack is at the mercy of your declarations. You are not bound by limitation, limitation is bound by your word. Every declaration you make in faith is an act of creation, an act of liberation, an act of manifestation. Speak boldly, persist faithfully, and watch as unseen provision floods into your life in ways you could never have orchestrated on your own. Every declaration chisels away lack. Every declaration dismantles limitation. Every declaration summons unseen provision. And if you will hold fast to this truth, living it, speaking it, believing it, you will step into a financial breakthrough so undeniable that it will testify not only to you, but to everyone who witnesses your transformation, that the power of spoken word aligned with spirit changes everything. So go forth now, not timid, not hesitant, but bold, unwavering, unshakable. For your mouth is your chisel, your word is your decree, and your declaration is your bridge between the unseen and the seen. And as you speak, declare, and decree for 7 days, for 70, for a lifetime, you will see that lack has no place, limitation has no hold, and provision flows endlessly into your life. Faith-filled words command prosperity. Doubt is the only thief of manifestation. These are not empty phrases but a truth older than time itself, a truth that governs the invisible laws by which your life is shaped. From the very beginning, Spirit spoke and creation appeared. The sun, the moon, the stars, the oceans, the mountains, all came forth at the sound of a word. If all of creation responds to spoken word, do you think your finances are any different? Money, too, hears the vibration of your decree. Wealth, too, moves when summoned by faith-filled speech. Every fortune, every success story, every breakthrough is first birthed by a word carried on the wings of faith. You are not powerless. You are not at the mercy of circumstances, of jobs, of economies, or of systems that appear bigger than you. You carry the same creative essence within you that framed the galaxies. Every time you open your mouth, you are either creating or destroying, either calling in abundance or shutting it out. Words are never neutral, they are seeds planted in the soil of spirit, and each will bear fruit after its kind. Speak poverty and lack will surely appear. Speak prosperity and increase, and the invisible will rearrange itself to deliver wealth into your hands. Faith-filled words are commands that the universe cannot resist. But there is a thief, a subtle robber, who lurks near the gates of your blessing. That thief's name is doubt. Doubt slithers into your heart and whispers, "What if it doesn't work? What if nothing changes? What if you are left the same?" And the moment you agree with that voice, the power of your decree is diluted, drained, and delayed. Doubt does not have to shout, it only has to whisper. It does not have to destroy, it only has to distract. And when you allow it to creep in, you hand over your authority and tie the very hands of spirit that were moving to deliver your blessing. Faith is the opposite. Faith does not whisper fear, it roars certainty. Faith says, "It is done. It is mine. I cannot be denied." Faith stands tall in the middle of an empty bank account and proclaims, "My cup runneth over." Faith looks at overdue bills and says, "My God shall supply all my needs." Faith looks at the delay and calls it preparation, not denial. Faith declares the invisible as though it were already visible, and because it speaks with certainty, it draws the invisible into form. The greatest tragedy is that many speak the right words but with the wrong spirit. They say, "I am rich, I am prosperous, I am abundant." Yet deep within their heart, they murmur, "But what if nothing happens? What if this is just words?" That inner contradiction cancels the decree. The outer word says, "Yes," but the inner doubt says, "No," and the result is delay, frustration, and the illusion that spirit does not hear. But spirit always hears. The universe always responds. The only question is to which voice is it responding, the voice of faith or the whisper of doubt. Beloved, understand this: every fortune ever built began in faith. Every mansion, every empire, every enterprise was first spoken into being by someone who believed. They might not have known the spiritual law behind it, but they operated it nonetheless. They dreamed, they declared, they saw it within before it appeared without. They refused to entertain doubt, even when circumstances mocked their vision, and because they held fast, their decree became reality. That same power lives in you. Do not underestimate the might of a single word spoken in faith. A single decree, uttered with full belief, can shake loose the treasures stored in hidden places. A single faith-filled command can open doors that years of labor could not open. A single declaration, repeated daily, becomes a hammer against the walls of limitation until the walls crumble and wealth pours through. Your tongue is the pen of a ready writer, scripting the story of your finances. What you say with faith becomes your reality, and what you allow doubt to cancel remains a dream deferred. Let me tell you, this prosperity is not earned by toil alone. If work alone created wealth, the hardest laborers would be the richest, but many toil endlessly and remain bound by lack. Prosperity is spiritual law. It is commanded, decreed, spoken into manifestation by those who know their authority. You were never designed to beg or scrape. You were designed to command. You were not placed here to chase provision, but to call it into being with your voice of faith. Money is not your master. It is your servant, waiting to obey your decree. Yet, many bow to money as though it were a god. They cry over it, worry over it, fear its absence, and in doing so, they give it power over them. But money was created to serve you, not to enslave you. It listens to faith-filled words, not fear-filled cries. When you rise up in your authority and declare, "Wealth is drawn to me, doors are opening for me. My supply is endless." Money has no choice but to obey. But when you tremble and say, "I never have enough, I don't know how I'll make it," you bind money's hands and send it fleeing from your life. Beloved, doubt may look harmless, but it is the silent assassin of destiny. It does not roar like fear, but it corrodes like rust. It eats at the foundation of your faith until your words lose their power. That is why you must starve doubt and feed faith. Surround yourself with words of life. Speak the Psalms, declare the promises, decree abundance until your spirit vibrates with certainty. Doubt cannot survive in the atmosphere of constant faith-filled speech. For 7 days, speak the Psalm, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." Say it when you wake, say it when you lie down, say it when worry rises. Each time you speak it, do not say it as a wish but as a law. See yourself already supplied, already overflowing, already in possession of the wealth that belongs to you. Refuse to argue with appearances. Refuse to measure your future by your present. Appearances lie, but spirit never lies. Your word, spoken with faith, has more power than any temporary lack. There will be moments when the whisper of doubt will come stronger than ever, when circumstances seem stubborn, when the breakthrough looks delayed. That is the exact moment to intensify your decree. The closer the blessing, the louder the doubt will scream. It is the enemy's last attempt to push you off course before manifestation appears. Do not give in. Stand firm. Say with even greater conviction, "I shall not want." Declare, "My supply is endless." Proclaim, "Money comes to me in avalanches of abundance." And as you stand unshaken, the unseen will crystallize into the seen, and your harvest will burst forth. Some may laugh and say, "Words cannot change money." But the truth is, words change everything. Words change nations. Words spark revolutions. Words heal the sick. Words open the blind eye. Words raise the dead. If words can raise the dead, do you think they cannot raise your finances? Words are spirit in motion. They are the breath of God through your lips, and when you speak them with unwavering faith, they carry the authority of heaven itself. So I tell you again, faith-filled words command prosperity. Doubt is the only thief of manifestation. Train your lips to decree wealth. Train your heart to believe your decree. Refuse to let doubt live another day in your spirit. Cast it out like a thief in the night. Build a fortress of faith around your words and let your decree go forth like a king issuing a command. Wealth will obey. Opportunities will appear. Divine supply will rush in to fill the vacuum created by your faith. You were not created to live in lack. You were not born to struggle endlessly. You were created to live as a reflection of divine abundance. And the key is already in your mouth. Speak it. Believe it. Guard it from doubt. Do this, and you will watch with your own eyes as prosperity, long delayed, comes flooding into your life. There is a sacred truth hidden in plain sight. The words you speak do not vanish into thin air. They echo in the unseen. They reverberate in the eternal. They shape the very conditions of your life. Many live as though their speech is idle, powerless, or inconsequential, but in truth every syllable you release carries with it the seed of creation. When you speak fear, fear multiplies. When you speak lack, lack cements itself in your world. But when you take hold of a divine word, a sacred psalm, and declare it daily faithfully, with expectancy, something shifts within you, and as it shifts within you, it shifts around you. The psalm is not a poem for comfort only, it is a code. It carries the vibration of heaven, a rhythm that when spoken aligns your heart and mind with infinite supply. To declare, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," is to remind your spirit that you were never created to live in deficiency. You were created to live in overflow. You were designed to attract wealth, to magnetize opportunities, to call forth provision from the invisible realm into the visible. Speaking the psalm daily reprograms your inner dialogue, silences the voices of doubt, and installs a new belief that abundance is your divine birthright. At first, the mind resists. It says, "How can a few words change my financial state? How can repeating this psalm bring money, opportunities, breakthroughs?" But the mind forgets that all reality begins in the unseen. Every empire, every fortune, every invention, every idea was once invisible, living only in thought and word before it clothed itself in form. Your words are spiritual currency. When you spend them wisely, you draw in the very experiences you desire. And when you speak this psalm daily, you are making a consistent deposit into the bank of spirit, a deposit that returns to you multiplied. Each repetition is not vain repetition, it is reinforcement. The subconscious mind is a servant, neutral and obedient. It believes what it hears often enough. If you constantly feed it with fear, money is scarce, opportunities are limited, nothing ever works for me, it will accept that as law and recreate it as your experience. But when you begin to flood it with truth, when you tell it every morning and every evening that you cannot want, that you are guided, that your supply is sure, your subconscious shifts its programming. It begins to expect provision. It begins to attract provision. It begins to magnetize the people, places, and circumstances that confirm what you have spoken. This is why daily practice matters. A seed planted once can wither, but a seed nurtured daily takes root and grows. When you speak the psalm every day, you are watering the seed of prosperity. You are cultivating fertile soil in your spirit for wealth to flourish. Opportunities that were always near but unseen suddenly appear. Why? Because you have tuned your frequency to notice them, to align with them, to step boldly into them. The opportunities were not absent, you were blind to them. But now, with your spirit reprogrammed, your eyes see what they could not see before, your ears hear what they once ignored, and your heart recognizes what it once doubted. Money is energy, wealth is vibration. Opportunities are living forces waiting for recognition. They are drawn not to need, but to faith. They do not come to those who cry in despair, but to those who speak with authority. When you speak this psalm, you are not begging God for help. You are standing in agreement with God's eternal law of supply. You are saying, "I remember who I am. I remember I am not forsaken. I remember I cannot walk in lack, because Spirit leads me to green pastures and still waters." And as you say it, heaven responds. Circumstances bend, people are stirred, doors swing open. The reprogramming does not happen only in your mind, it happens in your spirit. Your spirit begins to radiate confidence. Your aura begins to shift. Without realizing it, you carry yourself differently, you speak differently, you make decisions differently. Where you once hesitated, you now move boldly. Where you once shrank back, you now step forward. And because the world responds to confidence, opportunities start flowing in. People are drawn to you. They sense something on you, favor, assurance, faith, and they want to connect with it. That connection becomes the bridge for your financial breakthrough. Consider this: a person who repeats daily that they are always provided for will eventually stop acting like one who is desperate. They will stop chasing in fear and start attracting in peace. They will make choices from abundance instead of scarcity. And those choices create new outcomes. That is why speaking the psalm is not magic in the sense of tricks. It is divine alignment in the sense of law. It is the steady reprogramming of your inner world until your outer world must mirror it. Day after day, as you declare this psalm, your words gather momentum. The first day you may feel little change. The second day you may wonder if it matters. But by the third and fourth day, a quiet confidence arises. By the fifth and sixth you notice small signs. A bill reduced, a stranger's kindness, an idea that sparks. And by the seventh day you stand in a new atmosphere. Even if the money has not yet physically arrived, your spirit has shifted into expectancy. That expectancy is the womb of manifestation. The moment you expect, supply must come. The moment you expect, the universe rushes to deliver. Unexpected wealth does not mean it is random. It means it comes in ways you did not calculate, from channels you did not anticipate, through people you did not plan. It may be a business idea whispered to you in prayer. It may be a job offer you never applied for. It may be a debt forgiven, a door opened, a contract signed, a gift given, or a sale made. To the natural mind, it looks unexpected, but to the spiritual mind, it is simply the fruit of a new program running in the background of your soul, the program of abundance. Daily repetition builds faith. Faith is not a vague hope. Faith is a conviction, a knowing. When you say this psalm with faith, you are not asking if provision will come, you are declaring that provision has already come. You are not speaking from lack trying to reach abundance, you are speaking from abundance until abundance materializes. That is the power of spirit-led speech. It collapses time, it pulls the unseen into the seen. And so, beloved, I urge you, commit to this practice. Let this psalm be your morning decree and your evening seal. Do not rush the words, savor them. Feel them, let them saturate your being. Speak them not as a beggar knocking on heaven's door, but as an heir opening the treasury that already belongs to you. For every day you speak them, you engrave abundance deeper into your soul, until wealth becomes not something you seek but something you carry. The change will not always be loud. Sometimes it will be subtle. The peace that replaces worry, the clarity that replaces confusion, the boldness that replaces hesitation. But know this, every subtle shift is evidence that your spirit is being reprogrammed. And as surely as night turns to day, as surely as seed grows into harvest, the reprogramming will manifest as unexpected wealth and opportunities. Picture yourself now walking into rooms where favor greets you, opening emails that bring good news, answering calls that offer solutions, encountering people who want to bless you. See yourself at peace, no longer calculating every coin, no longer fearing tomorrow, but living in the overflow of today. That picture is not fantasy. It is the inevitable outcome of a reprogrammed spirit, and speaking this psalm is the key. So take the word upon your lips, speak it daily, hold it as law, let no doubt interrupt it. And as you do, watch your inner dialogue transform, watch your confidence grow, watch your atmosphere shift, and watch wealth and opportunities flow to you in ways you never imagined. This is not just a practice, it is a covenant. This is not just repetition, it is recreation. You are rewriting the script of your financial destiny, one spoken psalm at a time. For those who persevere, the result is certain abundance, provision, overflow, and opportunities beyond measure. Speak the psalm daily, beloved, and your spirit will awaken to its true program, the program of prosperity. And from that program will flow the financial breakthrough you have long awaited. You are not created to chase money. You are created to command it by the authority of spirit. Chasing is for those who do not know who they are, for those who believe that the external world decides their fate, for those who think that what is in their bank account determines their worth. But you, beloved, are not among them. You are not made to live in desperation, running after wealth as if it were running away from you. No, you are born with authority, stamped with divine signature, carrying within you the spirit that calls things that are not as though they already were. You are not created to be a beggar at the gates of opportunity. You are created to be a commander of opportunity itself. Look around you at creation. The sun does not beg to shine because it is its nature. The river does not plead to flow, it flows because it is its nature. The tree does not chase fruit, it produces fruit because that is its design. And so it is with you. Prosperity is not something you have to chase, it is something you must allow to flow because it is your design. Money, wealth, abundance. They are not external forces running away from you. They are vibrations, obedient to the voice of spirit, waiting for you to rise into your rightful authority and call them forth. The reason many live in lack is because they believe they must chase what was already given. They work themselves to the bone, believing that sweat is the only road to success. They plead with heaven, not realizing heaven already answered. They stretch out their hands to the world, not realizing they carry within them the decree of the Most High. You must shift your understanding. You must rise into the realization that you are not created to pursue supply. You are supply in motion, clothed in human form. When you speak, spirit moves. When you decree, substance appears. When you stand in your authority, money has no choice but to bow and come forth. Money is not your master, it is your servant. Wealth is not your ruler, it is your subject. Yet many have reversed the order and bowed down to what was meant to bow down to them. They chase after money, making it an idol, forgetting that money itself is nothing but energy, a form of supply, a tool in the hand of spirit. You are not made to serve money. Money is made to serve you. When you rise in your true identity, you do not grovel before it, you summon it by the word of your authority. The moment you decide to stop chasing and start commanding, everything shifts. Chasing keeps you in the vibration of lack, always declaring by your actions, I don't have enough, and I must run after it. But commanding flows from the vibration of abundance, where you know, it is already mine, and I simply call it forth. Which vibration do you think the universe responds to? Which energy do you think heaven honors? It is not the energy of desperation, it is the energy of faith, the knowing that you are one with the source of all supply. When you command by the Spirit, you are not arrogant, you are aligned, you are not prideful, you are obedient, you are living in the truth that your words carry power, your declarations carry weight, your authority is recognized in both the seen and the unseen. Have you not heard? Life and death are in the power of the tongue. If that is true, then wealth and lack are also in the power of the tongue. You may speak poverty into your life, or you may speak prosperity. You may decree shortage, or you may decree overflow. And when you decree with conviction, the law of spirit makes it manifest. Chasing is rooted in fear. Commanding is rooted in faith. Chasing says, if I don't run fast enough, I'll miss my chance. Commanding says, what belongs to me cannot pass me by. It is mine by divine right, and it comes when I call. Chasing wears you down. Commanding lifts you up. Chasing makes you a servant. Commanding proves you are a son or daughter of the Most High. You must decide, in this very moment, to abandon the chase and take your rightful seat as commander of your financial destiny. You may say, but I have bills right now. I have debts, obligations, pressures. Yes, but you cannot chase your way out of them. The harder you run after money, the farther it seems to run from you. But the moment you shift into authority and speak from spirit, provision begins to unfold in ways you cannot calculate. Suddenly a door opens. Suddenly a check arrives. Suddenly a phone call comes with an opportunity you didn't see before. Why? Because money responds to authority, not desperation. Supply responds to command, not pleading. Heaven responds to faith, not fear. Do you remember how creation itself began? It was not with hands laboring or feet running. It was with a voice speaking, "Let there be." And there was. The pattern has never changed. You are made in that same image, carrying that same authority. Why would you think money requires something different? You must say, "Let there be provision," and there will be. You must say, "Let there be abundance," and abundance comes. You must say, "Let there be wealth released into my life now," and wealth will align to find its way to you. Beloved, chasing is noise. Commanding is signal. Chasing is chaos. Commanding is order. Chasing scatters your energy. Commanding concentrates your power. The one who chases is always outside of themselves, looking outward. The one who commands turns inward, speaks from spirit, and watches the external world rearrange itself in response. Which will you choose? Money hears you. Never think it doesn't. Every time you say, "I can't afford it," you are commanding money to stay away. Every time you say, "I'm broke," you are commanding lack to multiply. Every time you say, "This is too hard," you are decreeing struggle into your path. But when you reverse your word, you reverse your world. When you say, "I live in abundance," abundance must hear and obey. When you say, "Money flows easily to me," money begins its journey toward you. When you say, "I command all financial blockages to be removed," invisible chains fall off, and opportunities once hidden become visible. This is not wishful thinking, it is law. The same law that governs gravity governs your words. Just as a seed must become the tree it contains, so must your spoken word become the reality it declares. You cannot plant a seed of poverty and expect a harvest of wealth. You cannot sow words of lack and expect abundance to come, but plant the right seed, words of authority, words of wealth, words of faith, and watch how quickly the harvest comes. You are not created to chase money, you are created to command it by the authority of spirit. This truth is not for tomorrow, not for next year, not for when you feel ready, it is for now. The moment you accept it, everything in your financial world begins to shift. The spirit in you is ready, waiting only for you to stop running after shadows and stand in the light of authority. Stop the chase. Begin the command. Speak with boldness, for your word is law when aligned with spirit. And when you speak, watch as wealth, opportunity, and prosperity rise up and salute the authority of your decree.